I love the way the First Gen Lounge makes me feel.
Because it creates a space where I belong.
Where we're able to create community.
The fact that it's a community.
It's a safe place.
It also gives me a place to understand different perspectives.
The stories of these individuals prescribe transformational perspective.
I receive encouragement, enlightenment, empowerment.
And also serve as a catalyst to just keep going.
Where we're able to be our true selves.
I'm allowed to be an unapologetic First Gen.
And above all else, tell our story.
And every episode is unique.
I love it.
I'm your host, Dr. Eve, and I'd like to welcome you to the First Gen Lounge. Hey, welcome back. And if you are new, what up with it? Try something new with that one, but did it work? Okay. So listen, in the spirit of continuing to try new things, I've decided that I want to play around with some of the content that I'll be sharing on the podcast because there's so much of it and so many things that I've done over the years that I believe can bring you immense value. So today I'm going to actually broadcast a conversation that I had on Clubhouse with a colleague, a fellow entrepreneur, somebody who I consider a sister and a friend, Janae Adams, who is, as I say, my first gen financial go-to because, listen, she knows all things money, okay? When it comes to the money, that's who you want to talk to. But to say the least, I hope that you enjoy this conversation, and I'm just going to step on out the way so we can get into it. So, hello, good afternoon, good day, what is today? Wednesday? All day, hump day. So I am Eve Hudson. I am the founder and chief strategist of Evangeline Worldwide, which is a development entity where I specialize in personal development and entrepreneurship, as well as the host of the First Gen Lounge podcast. So for those of you who are first gen or know a first gen friend, feel free to go to my profile and go to the very bottom. There's a group called the First Gen Lounge. Follow that for more conversations like this, specifically for first generation college students and graduates, just to be able to just propel and do all the amazing things in life. I'm really, really, really excited because I have someone here who's become a very dear friend, somebody who's been, a trailblazer and a leader and one of the first Black women, that I met as a speaker who were just like showing nothing but love. So I really, really adore her. But Janae Adams, welcome. So glad to have you here today. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
And thank you for having me, Dr. Eve. And like she said, when I met Dr. Eve, a few years ago, I was just like, man, she's just a genuine person. Like whatever I can do, like she asks me any questions, I'm going to try to figure out the answer for her. So I greatly appreciate this opportunity just to have this conversation with you. I am Janae Adams. I am the owner of EMAC Consulting, but everybody knows me from Debt Sucks University, and that's actually the name of my first book. I paid off $50,000 of debt in 2 years, and it led me to start a business of speaking around the world about my story. And I've been in business about 10 years now, so I'm looking forward to sharing a little bit about my story, but I'm definitely looking forward to answering you all's questions today.
Getting to the first question for you, Janae, can you tell us your story about having paid off $50K of debt in 2 years? Because that's a lot of money.
And my story is a little bit unconventional and different from other people who have student loan debt. I actually graduated college debt-free with $10,000 in the bank at the age of 21. And many people don't know that until I get on the stage. And what ended up happening is what people don't think about is that marriage can come. And so I married into 25 grand. And then the other 25 grand, I didn't know anything about money. And instead of getting a car fixed that should have just got fixed for maybe $500, I was just like, you know what? Forget this car. We're going to get a new one. And that's where the other 25 grand came up. And I'm like many other people here, especially in America. I know we got people from around the world joining us, but here in America, we live in a microwave generation and we want everything so fast, especially like we're talking about first gen. That's what I am as well. And we feel like we got to get everything that we ain't never had before. We got to get the house. We got to make sure we got the good job, the nice looking car and so forth. And so that's the path I was down until one day my company I had been working for 8 years basically said, you know what? We don't really need you anymore. So you're done. You're fired. And, in that one phone call, I lost, pretty much 60% of our household income. We lost a company car. We lost health insurance, and then we had a 1-year-old at home. And so that's when, reality set in real quick for me. And I started taking the steps to pay that $50,000 off in the 2 years.
You said a lot, and a whole lot, because if I just want to dissect it for a second. You're a first generation college graduate, no debt. Like when you graduated, like, bow, love it, right? Same thing happened to me. I fortunately was able to go to school on a full academic scholarship undergrad. So I was clear and free and doing my thing once I graduated as well. But then to think about, you did it, what you were supposed to do. You went and got the job, and the job to help take care of your family. You followed that path because, there's so much pressure for us as first generation, students and graduates to, do it right and take care of the family and have that career because we want to make everybody proud. And you did that and still got laid off. So I think there's a lot to say there, because at the end of the day, even when we do everything we're supposed to do, right, things can still just happen. And then, like you said, you married. And so I know some people probably got married and, you married somebody with debt. And there's some people like, no, I'm not marrying anybody with no debt. But, if you love them, you love them. So, but just thinking about what that looks like. So many things that you did, but then you figured it out. But then there's a lot of stories too, Janae, that talk about this. I paid off this amount of debt, but then they had parents who gave them houses, gave them cars, had trust funds, but you really worked to pay yours off. Can you tell us about what you did to pay off that much money? Like, what did you change in your life? What was your strategy? Did you have a conversation with your husband to be able to figure out, all right, this is what we're not going to do and this is what we are going to do?
Yeah, and it was really about getting focused. People definitely always ask me, Janae, how did you do that? How did you pay it off? And I'm like, that's not the right question. The question is why? You have to know your why, because if you don't know your why, you're always going to fail at pretty much a lot. But you're going to definitely fail at trying to get out of debt, trying to build wealth, because if you don't have no reason to do it, as soon as something hard comes along, you'll stop. And so what I teach people is something that I did myself, and it's called a dream sheet. And it's basically, what would you do? Where would you go? Who would you help if money was an issue? And I just got out a piece of paper that day I got laid off and wrote at the top, dream sheet. And I put, short-term, intermediate, and long-term, basically dreams. And it was, 6 to 12 months was short-term, 3 to 5 years was intermediate, and long-term was 10 to 15 years, which I'm still working on right now. And I just wrote down what those dreams were. And it was, if money doesn't matter. And I didn't put on there paying off debt as a dream, because I want everybody to know paying off debt is not a dream. Don't put that on your dream sheet, okay? But it needs to be things that you look forward to, that you want to do, because that's going to keep you out of debt. And as you said, did I sit down with him? And I did sit down, and I said, our first child was born into debt. Our second child would not be. And she wasn't. So she don't know the struggle at all. She don't know the struggle. Like, she is so much. She's just like, we can't eat out tonight? No. We're not eating out tonight. And my son is more of a saver, and because he went through it and she didn't. And so it just goes to like even teaching children about money as well, because they learn from us.
Absolutely. And then, as first gens, some of us, especially from those low income backgrounds, didn't learn a lot about money. We didn't have that conversation with our parents about credit and financing and saving, because they were struggling. So honest, what could they teach us? So I'm glad that you mentioned that, because people who I've learned that have money, who are wealthier, aren't afraid to have open conversations about money and teach it to their kids. Somebody said something, when you're not embarrassed about money, you can talk about it. And I think a lot of people who find themselves in the struggle tend to not talk about money because they don't have it to talk about. But I think that's where we have to shift our minds and start realizing, until we talk about money, we can't do better and get better at it. So now I can't think of a friend that I have that we don't talk about money in some kind of way, shape, form, or fashion, because it's important for us to do that. So I'm glad that you brought that up, that, your son saves because he's been through the struggle. And, I know the struggle. I know the struggle. But yeah. So just curious, is there anything that you would have done differently when you were paying off this $50,000 of debt?
What would I have done differently? I'm trying to think, what could I have done differently? I think coming out of the debt, I would have done some things a little bit differently. Coming out of it, I would have put even more money into my retirement. And probably a little less into my business, because I came out of the debt and then the business kind of started to form. And I think I wish I would have put a little bit more money aside into my IRA at that time. That's what I would think. Everything else, when I was paying off the debt, it was so much of my back against the wall, is that I just had to do what I had to do. Like every day was just like, do what you got to do, Janae. Do we need to sell this? Oh yeah, we need to sell that TV. Let's get this up out of here. We got too many TVs, so it was just like, everything to the wall to make sure it happened. So I don't think, as far as paying off the debt, if I would do anything differently that I can think of coming out of it. Yeah,
I can dig that. And then the other thing, as you were digging yourself out of this debt, did you still enjoy like living? Like, how did you find the balance? Because there are some people who are just like, do nothing, have no fun, just pay debt. But how do you find the balance in doing that?
When you start on the journey of paying off debt and you're really serious about it and you have your why behind it, it makes it a lot easier to give up things you don't really want. That you don't really want it like you think you want it. Like, you can give up some things. And the way that we kept our sanity and joy in our lives is that you have to do the work to find it. Like, America makes it so easy for us to just get credit cards, spend money, When you have to work and figure things out, you actually find more joy in it. So when I was looking for like dates, or a monthly date, we didn't go out to eat for 2 years, by the way. So for everybody, we didn't go out to eat for 2 years. We didn't go on vacation for 2 years. Nobody got a gift for 2 years, but no kind of holiday. And so that's how serious it was. But I found the local hospital here had a healthy eating class. And what we would do, I went by myself the first time to see how it was, and then it just became a date night. And what it is you go to this. It worked. You go to this healthy eating class, and they show you how to make a healthy meal. Like it's a whole hour class. They give you the ingredients, you cook it, you have steak, you have salad, whatever it is. And then what they would do is, when it's done, they were sponsored by the local grocery store, and they would send all the ingredients on with you with the meat. And it was free. I was like, this is crazy. And so that was our date night, each and every month. And, we were younger. We were in our 20s at the time, I believe. And so, you don't expect much, but that helped us grow closer. We learned how to cook, first of all. And then we came home, and that's something that helped me save even more money, because I was able to cook healthier dishes and so forth. So I would say that was the main thing, is just finding things to do as a couple, as a family, that didn't cost any money at all.
I'm gonna just tell you that no going out to eat, that hurt. That hurt, sis. Wait a minute, but you got to do what you got to do. But I appreciate knowing that the discipline was there, because it takes discipline to get things done. It doesn't matter what it is: going to school, saving, buying a house. You have to be disciplined. Losing weight, people think it's just, I'm just gonna show up and stuff happens. No, you got to be disciplined. Okay, so the last question I have for you before I open up Q&A to the audience is, how has being debt-free changed your life, especially as someone who's first-gen Black woman and an entrepreneur? Because there are a lot of intersections there that, it'll take us forever to dig into, but there's minority and woman, who you want, women ain't supposed to be doing stuff. You just think about things like that. And then for you to be an entrepreneur because you are a Black woman entrepreneur. So it's just so many layers. But how has it changed your life? And what would you suggest other people, just in thinking about making debt, paying it off, that priority as well?
Yeah, what it does is it helps me live in my why. It helps me do more of what I love and what I want to do. As far as an entrepreneur, a lot of what I do throughout the year, my passion is going to college campuses. Now we're doing it virtual, but I speak to at least 10,000 students a year, and majority of them are first gen. So if somebody tells me that they the first thing in their family to go to college, it gives me so much joy. And to show them a different way of thinking about money is what I love to do. Like, I tear everything they ever learned about money, I tear it down, and I build a whole new foundation. And because they're in high school and college, it's a lot easier than when I speak at corporations or organizations. And so my passion, me being debt-free, has led that I run a debt-free business. Anything you see, my social media, my marketing, you see me flying places, that is my money. And nobody is my boss. And so the freedom is there, and I can just do more of what I want. And on a personal level, it gives me the freedom to do more for those who got me to where I am, especially my mother. My mother, now, I was a 2-parent household. My father did pass away of a heart attack when I was 17. But to know that I can do things for her now, that because she worked so hard. So for her 70th birthday a couple years ago, in January, I said, this is what I want to do. And I'm going to work like I haven't worked before to make it happen. And her birthday gift was a year worth of trips, was her birthday gift. And the first trip we went on before COVID kind of hit us was we went to France and London for 7 days. And since then, we've done local ones. We went to Charleston, we went to the beach and so forth. But as soon as COVID's done, we back out of here. Like, and that's the freedom. It's just that I love to travel, and eat. Dr. Eve, you know I love to eat. So yeah. I love to eat, and travel is like my first favorite. And now, anytime I see a flight deal, I just buy it. I get up and go. I'm going to the Virgin Islands at the end of this month for 4 days. I'm going to Japan in April, for a whole week, and that flight's only $258. So just going through this whole process has helped me learn how to save money in every aspect of my life to make my money stretch further and to make my future wealth stretch further as well.
All of it. So listen, I love it. And I say it because I mean it. I think we probably known each other about 4 years now as well. So like time flies, but for those of you who are new to Janae, please do follow her IG. I'm not just saying it because she's a friend, because I'm trying to plug. I be on her IG, like, one of her biggest fans, like, where's she going now? What she get a coupon for? How much you get that trip? Or Janae, how you doing this? Because she's always giving out just free information. Even talking about the student loans and what's going to happen with that, and how the politics shape what's happening with us being able to pay them off or not, just depending on what that looks like. Again, just cheap deals for travel and how to save. It's all kinds of stuff. But the food, Janae is always eating. And so much so that now we be like, what you eat? Where you get that from? So free Starbucks all the time. And Starbucks ain't cheap. So yeah. But listen, Janae, I really do appreciate you. I appreciate, just your path, for you honoring that truth, for you figuring it out, for you being a very dynamic, first generation college graduate, HBCU graduate. Let the people know.
Yes,
a Black woman. Black woman and entrepreneur is just so beautiful to me. It's encouraging to me too. And I don't say that lightly because, it's just nice to know that other women have blazed the trail. And I continue to say it, in that there's room for all of us. So with that, this is wrapping up the interview portion, you all. So if you have questions, please feel free to raise your hand and come up to the stage and ask. No, you won't be recorded, so you're totally safe, because only she and I can be recorded right now, but we will have your responses, answer your response. So if you have any questions about debt or getting out of debt or paying off debt or student loans, anything money related, Janae knows. So please do raise your hand and come up so that we can get some of your questions answered. In the meantime, I am going to, again, just reset the room. I am Eve Hudson. I am host of the First Gen Lounge podcast, founder and chief strategist of Evangeline Worldwide, which is a development entity. And we are talking about first gen college grads and getting out of debt. Well, I hope that you enjoyed that. Listen, I told you, didn't I? I told this bad, sis is bad, and so well traveled. And since that conversation, I can't even begin to tell you how many more places that I've watched her go. And I told her, I said, one day I'm gonna tag along on one of these trips, because it's amazing to see, especially a Black woman who knows about her money, who can tell you about your money, but is living the life that she talks about. So with that in mind, I'm gonna go on and wrap it up and just remind you that you are worthy, you are capable, you got this. Know that I love you. Keep pressing forward in all that you do, and until the next time, peace.